quick bright cap removal. Capacitor 102 on the preamp volume knob off the pot. Super easy to do. Video to follow. Super easy to take out. So far, I really like it, especially when you're playing at low volumes. The purpose of that bright cap is so that it allows the desired high frequencies through at max volume. All right. Now, max volume, a lot of bass, a lot of mids, all the stuff is going through that volume pot. But as you turn the volume down, the resistance is going up, and most of the signal, then most of the frequencies getting through, because the electricity doesn't like to, is blocked by resistance. It likes to go the easiest way possible. What you end up with, as the volume goes down, the resistance in that pot is going up, which is why the signal drops, or the volume goes down. And most of the frequencies going through end up being just through that high pass capacitor, or the bright cap. So in an amp like an old style Marshall or a Fender, that bright cap works great if the thing is cranked, but as you turn the volume down, the signal, or the sound, tends to really thin out, which is usually undesirable. And the old style Marshalls too were tuned tonally to be cranked. I mean, they didn't have a separate volume. They were just, one master was up, and there wasn't a separate volume or gain. You just cranked it, and the thing was tuned to sound good at full volume. But these days, people are playing in their bedrooms a lot, in their houses, smaller gigs, so it's nice to have separate control. But that's the purpose of the bright cap. Older Marshalls had a smaller value, about 100 to 400 picofarads. Then in the 70s, that value started creeping up, 70s and 80s. That went up as high as like 4,700 picofarads, so a factor of 10 in change. All right, so check it out. I will come back later with a sound deal. I've got some plans to put a switch in, but we'll talk about that after a second. The most irritating thing about making videos in my garage is having to turn the TV down, because if YouTube hears anything on the outside of your video or in your video, they will check it for copyright, and 98% of the time somebody's going to say, oh, well, there might be a copyright infraction. Anyway, so we're into this, and this is the pot we're concerned with, the volume pot, and there's two resistors here. One is above the board right there, and the C102 is not something we can just cut and lift. The other one, the orange one, C101, we can cut and lift, and we could just easily resolder later if the change was bad. But I don't know which one is which, because I can't get to the bottom of C102. The leads are buried in the PC board, and the pots on this do not let you test the wiper. They've got the outer pots available, but big deal, right? We need to get access to the wiper to see what we're dealing with. So we got to pull some stuff off. So what you're going to want to do is put some painter's tape on a screwdriver so you don't mess up your panel, and get under the knobs and pull those off, because they are kind of sticky. So a little assist with that is nice. And then you're going to have to undo or loosen these nuts. So again, painter's tape on your pliers, and then just, and that usually gets it loose enough for your fingers to do the rest of the job. The board is easy enough to take out. It's just this board right here. Alright? Just that board right there, and it's just these pots right here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pots on a little board. Everything's connected with ribbon cables. So easy, 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 easy. Super easy. Alright, back in a few. Alright, so there's our preamp pot right there. And the only capacitor that is in line with that and ground is this one right here, which is I think the C102. It's one's missing. Yep, C102. And it did take a little convincing. It's not one you can just clip and lift because of the nature of the cap. Alright, so it will take a little convincing. I did try my solder sucker, and it was pretty effective. But you might be just as successful with the heat and pry off method. So get a little screwdriver under that thing, heat both sides, heat this side and then that side, pry it with a little screwdriver until the component comes out, and then go ahead and clear those holes in case you need to put it back in.
So easy enough to do, right? So like I said, and I was watching some Pete Thorne videos too, Pete Thorne really likes what a small value picofarad, 100 picofarad cap does. It just changes the tone a little bit, but he also liked the higher value, 4700 picofarads, as did another guy that I was watching who did a lot of cap changes really across the spectrum, and he really liked the aggressive nature of the 4700, because as your capacitor gets that big, it starts allowing a lot more than just the high frequencies through. It starts allowing a lot of the mid and lower mids through. So it ends up a bass cut, and the amp ends up with a very aggressive mid range, but still has that upper end twang that Marshalls are famous for. I really like it. It was super easy to do. For about $12 from Mouser Electronics. Again, StewMac is great, a great resource, but you're going to pay twice as much for anything. In fact, their capacitors are $3. The Mouser capacitors are 47 cents. So it's and shipping is a lot cheaper with Mouser. StewMac has like a $7 or $8 minimum shipping charge. So go to Mouser, and you can find a 470 picofarad cap, which I'm going to try, and I'm going to go try the 4700 picofarad cap as well. I've got a little tiny toggle switch. I'll probably get a nice bezel for it so it looks real clean, and I'll put it just to the right side of the sensitivity word right there, or might stick it up in that corner. We'll see, but it should look really nice. And you're going to get a lot of variability out of the amp. Before I took the bright cap out, I was having to run my treble and presence almost off. But with the bright cap out, and I was running the bass cranked. So a lot of bass and the treble all the way down at lower volumes in here. Now with the bright cap out, the tone I have in the room here is really nice and thick and full range, has full range of tones. And I've got my treble up at 8 and my presence is at 4. The bass is all the way down to 2. So I've really cut the bass and increased the treble, but my EQ settings are more or less in the middle. When I had this out in the garage, I had to EQ it differently because I was playing much louder. But sounds great, love the amp. It's quiet enough to really enjoy in a bedroom. It's got less overall hiss than the DSL-20. It sounds great. It's my new favorite amp. It's just thick, man. So I'll come back later, so stay tuned for that mod. But in the time being, take that cap out and see if you don't love it. I find it a very good change and super easy to do. All right, take care. Next time.